Our 2 cents.
With Oscar.
Welcome back to Our 2 Cents. We're doing it again here at Raxo Studios with Oscar, your host, R2CentsW.com, R2Cents on all social media. Thank you for all your support. Please hit that subscribe button. It means the world to me, and it's free for you. And now, happy National Road Trip Day. Now, the Friday before Memorial Day in the year of this 2022, crazy things are happening, but no matter, life must continue. Is declared rational National Road Trip Day and serves as the official kickoff of the summer road trip season. Millions of Americans hit the road each year except 2020 because of coronavirus, year-long weekend, visiting friends and family while paying tribute to the American heroes. Now, when I read road trip, that's not what I had in mind. When I read road trip, what I had in mind was recovering a tape that was wrongly sent to someone, and then adventures throughout the way with BBW and a skinny guy. That's what I was thinking about. But anyways, entering summer 2022, more Americans are anxious to make up lost time, and recent surveys suggest an overwhelming majority prefer driving as the leading choice of reacting this summer's destination. Now, in my experience, I love doing a road trip. I love it. It's not a doubt in my mind that I love it. Now, what I hate is the drive. I don't enjoy that. That's boring to me. I don't want to drive. But I also don't trust nobody driving me around. So, therefore, I gotta drive. I'll drive and I'll hate the whole vacation road trip that we're driving. But I'll hate it, but I'll love it. It's a love-hate relationship. I enjoy driving, but I hate driving. So it's difficult to explain. Now, experiencing places that have not been touched by humans as much as everywhere else that we have around us, meaning close to society, where it's far away from society. If we need to see those, well, the only places to see them is taking a road trip. And I don't even know if it made any sense what I was trying to say, but plan to travel by car. Because gas is fucking expensive right now, and you can afford it. You can really afford it. Now, if you want to do a road trip, like I said, 4 college buddies embark on a road trip to retrieve an illicit tape mistakenly mailed to a female friend. That's what I was thinking when they said Happy National Road Trip Day. But apparently it's not. It's just road trips that people take. No, that's not exactly what I was thinking. What I was thinking was the time I went to June Lake and that road trip sucked. It's an 8-hour drive and you're still in California. No, that's wrong. It's not 8. It's 4.5, 5 hours, and you're still in California and just heading north. But I'm too close to the border, so that makes sense why it would be a lot longer. But at the time I wasn't. No. Anyways, if you're taking a road trip this summer, happy National Road Trip Day to you on Friday the 27th of 2022. And National Cellophane Tape Day. Now, you may ask yourself, you may be wondering, Oscar, what the hell is Cellophane Tape Day? Well, you know what the tape day is, but you don't know what cellophane is. If you're anything like me, you wouldn't know what cellophane is, because I didn't know what cellophane is until I found out today. Happy National Cellophane or drum set, applause, sod, intro, laughter, no scary, harp. It is Scotch tape. Thank you, thank you, thank you. No need to relax. Relax, everybody relax. Take a second. Take a second. Thank you, thank you. No need to get all crazy now. It is just Scotch tape. It could be a sticky situation on May 27th as we recognize National Cellophane Tape. When I read cellophane, I was thinking cell phones. I don't know why. Can you imagine where we would be without this invention? Well, I'll tell you where we would be. We would be somewhere more productive if we wouldn't have this cheap ass tape that's always ripping in half every time you poke it. But that's every tape, right? Anyways, can you imagine where we would be without this invention? Wrapping presents would be slightly more difficult without it. I beg the difference because white tape and painter's tape is also a good form of wrapping presents, if you ask my opinion. Anyway, cellophane tape, hashtag cellophane tape day, also known as invisible tape or Scotch tape. Like I said, this innovation can be found in every household and office. Richard Dick Gurley Drew, Richard or Dick, whatever you want to call it, June 22nd, 1899, December 14th of 1980. He lived almost 80 years. Invented the invisible tape in 1930. He created the tape from cellulose and originally called it cellulose tape. His career started at the 3M company in 1920 in St. Paul, Minnesota, where he developed a masking tape for the automotive industry. Originally designed to seal cellophane packages sold in groceries and bakeries, the new adhesive missed its mark by the time it all drawbacks were resolved. All its drawbacks resolved. DuPont introduced heat seal cellophane. However, the cellophane packaging still offer some benefits. With surrounding endorsement from customers, 3M found a market in both the home and office. Many of us keep several rolls of it. I don't. I like black tape and clear tape. Is that cellophane tape? Yeah, that's the same thing. So yes, you're right. Anyways, if you celebrate any of those days, happy celebration to you. Thank you. And we are back at it again, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary folk. We are here today. It is Friday, July. What the hell? We went into the future. No, we did not. It is Friday the 27th, May 27th. Friday the 27th, May 27th. Makes perfect sense. Of course, that's what the day is. Believe me, that's what the day is. Anyways, so today, it's a very interesting conversation that I had today. It's something I've always, not just me, we as humanity wonder when we hear about this plastic patch in the middle of the ocean, right? That's bigger than Texas, apparently, right? When we hear about that, we wonder, what is the solution? What could we do? Who can do it and how can they do it? Now, most of us are not smart enough to think of a solution. But the gentleman I'm going to have this conversation with, Julian Brown. He is an innovator of the microwave pyrolysis reactor. And I'll do a very bad job explaining to you what that is, which is basically microwaving plastic and turning it into activated carbon, which it's a whole process. When you do that, you turn plastic into fuel, which could go natural gas or diesel fuel for trucks, cars, wherever the case may be. Now, this gentleman, Julian Brown, he's the savior that we all needed. He solved what we've all been wondering. Without further ado, I bring to you my friend Julian Brown. There he is.
Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. So I'm guessing you can hear me well and all that.
Yes, perfect. I can hear you perfectly well. I'm
Excellent.
I'm gonna let you go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, and what can you share of your goals. Because I'm pretty sure you don't want to put everything out there. I'm just
Yeah.
asking for what you can share.
Okay. So my name is Julian Brown. I'm 18 and I'm from Douglasville, Georgia. And I've been getting a lot of attention recently because of my TikTok video on my microwave pyrolysis reactor, which is a device that lets me turn plastic waste into fuel. Now, I started this project about 2 years ago at a welding program in high school, and I've just gone through with it ever since. And I just kept improving it. And eventually, I started to make YouTube videos on it. And recently, I got into TikTok to give it more publicity. And that's where we're at now.
Yeah.
My goals on how much I can share or I'm willing to share. Well, pretty much, I'm sharing almost the whole process and everything, especially like on my YouTube channel or the Discord server we have. We just talk about all types of stuff because to me, the ultimate goal is to get plastic pollution out the world, not to try to own something or try to be the face of it. We're just trying to deal with this pollution problem, honestly.
Of course. Of course. It's I think it's one of the things that it's gotten too big for us to even take into consideration.
Yeah.
And before we keep going, I'm gonna let me introduce myself to you because you've only known me for I mean from the messages that I sent right, that I sent out.
Right.
My name is Oscar. I have this podcast R2 Cents where I like to have conversations with different type of content creators and innovators like yourself because I think it's important to give all the light that you can to people that are innovating most importantly and people who create content, to keep all the rest of the sheep entertained.
Yeah, most definitely.
Right. Okay. Anyways, let me continue with let me back up again to where we were going at. So you started this project that you are working on, which is the microwave pyrolysis, right? Reactor,
Right.
which plastic converts it to fuel, which
Right.
I think you just cracked the code pretty much. You've been cracking the code, I should say, because it's like it's literally the biggest problem that nobody seems to have a solution. But there's people like you, and there's another. You know what's crazy? I'm thinking
What?
about this. That is younger guys that are trying to figure this out instead of the people that can already are in position that are able to figure it
Right.
out. Right? They're not doing
Right.
any. It seems like they're not doing anything about it now. They might be doing something behind closed doors, but it's not as loud as you the younger generation that's coming right behind my generation. I'm 30, 32 years old actually.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're right behind me, right? And
Right.
there's another guy that took a different approach than you did, and he also is a younger guy that he's collecting with this giant nets that he's made that he's created. He's collecting all the plastic from the ocean, and
Wow.
they're recycling it to make other things with that recycled plastic, and they sell everything like I think if I'm not mistaken, it's a non-profit organization where they collect whatever they make, they put it back into the program that they're working on. And,
Mm-hmm.
and now that I'm saying that I'm telling you this, I'm thinking, wow, your project and his project could work perfect
Hand in
because
hand.
hand in hand because
Yeah.
they could pull the plastic out of the ocean, bring it to you, and you do with it what you do with it, and in the end turn it around and try to make it into a bigger project for the bigger problem that we have, right?
Right. I
Yeah.
definitely agree with that. That's the key because, this is a global issue. We're not gonna do it alone. We need people with all different minds and all different goals and inventions and innovations to come together to solve this. And that is a perfect hand in hand situation because, even when it comes to the ocean plastics, some of them are just so bad quality, they can't be recycled and they're bound to incinerators or landfills. And when you do that, that's probably the worst case scenario for plastics, right? Or they might end up in the ocean again. And that's where pyrolysis comes in. It offers the other alternative that I would say is second best to recycling, to mechanical recycling. Like if plastic can be mechanically recycled, right? I feel like that's the best way to do it because we're kind of keeping the system closed, right?
Right.
But unfortunately, actually most plastics in this world are not being mechanically recycled. And a lot of the plastics that end up in the ocean are plastics that me and you put in our recycling bin. They get shipped off to China and then or some type of third world country, right? Around that region, and then they end up dumping it in rivers and it ends up in the ocean, you know?
Right. Right. What about we see? What about the ships that they loose in the middle of the ocean that are carrying those all that recyclable plastic as well too, right? That's got to be an issue and that
Yeah,
nobody talks about.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, plastic can easily, fall from those ships or, just end up in the ocean somehow. There's all types of ways. So we definitely need, just as important as it is to have a process of dealing with the plastic, we also need a process of capturing the plastic. And that's why it makes me so excited to hear things like that. People are working on that side of things, I'm working on this side of things, and we'll come
Right.
together.
Hopefully, eventually you get with that guy. I mean,
Yeah.
because it would be a an interesting project to embark to see if it can work out. Because most of the plastic, like you said, right, most of it can be recycled, but there's a percentage of it that cannot, of course.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So what you were when I'm still trying to understand at 16 years old, you started thinking about this. What made you think about it?
Well, I've always been an environmentalist. I've always cared about nature and just the state of the earth because I'm like that is our roots, that is our foundation. It doesn't matter how advanced we get. We can go to the Mars, we can go to Mars, the moon, Jupiter, but the materials we use to go to those planets comes from the earth. It is our foundation. So we need to get this right before we do all these other things, right?
Right.
I think is absolutely unacceptable that we have all the technology and infrastructure necessary to have a zero waste system, and yet we're the most wasteful society ever in all of human history. So I was always looking for solutions. Um, I started a composting system in my house. I'd have my whole family composting all of our food
Wow.
waste, and we put it in the garden. And so basically, that's where it started, right? Because I was trying to get my house zero waste, and then the only things that weren't zero waste were plastics, right? Because I would take glass bottles to a local recycling place, metal to a scrap yard, but then we'd have plastic, and like I would put it in the recycling bin, but I just knew, I had a feeling like this is not being recycled
Yeah.
because I saw all those videos talking about how they only can recycle clean plastic, or how a lot of this plastic just ends up going to landfills or whatever, and they just say it's recycling. And I was just like, I don't trust this. I want to take the stand myself. So I started to look up different solutions. And to me, when I think of an issue of, the plastic being too dirty or too clean or something, right? I immediately think of something like fire, because think about fire, right? You throw anything in fire, it burns, right? It
Of
doesn't
course.
care what it is, what it isn't. But we also know what happens when you burn plastic. You get all types of pollutants and all that. So I'm like, okay, how can we burn plastic but not burn it, right? And that's what led me on to finding pyrolysis, which is when you burn plastic in a closed containers where no oxygen is present. Most of the pollutants that come from burning things are because oxygen reacts with it and form things like sulfur dioxide, right? Nitrous oxide, all types of oxides and dioxins that are very toxic, right? But when
Right.
you do pyrolysis in a oxygen-free environment, not only do you prevent all those harmful pollutants from forming, but any potential other pollutants like dyes in plastic, or sulfur in general, or heavy metals, it's a very controlled system. So we can always filter those out and know exactly what's in the end byproduct gas at the end and what's in it at the beginning.
Wow. That's this. He That's why you're a lot smarter than me because you paid attention in biology. I even see this is how smart I thought I was. I'm not saying I I got common sense, all right? That's all I'm saying. I got common sense, but I remember I took AP biology in high school, right? And all these terms that you're using, I remember hearing them throughout the years that I took those AP science courses that I did. I took them not because I was interested, but because it was forced upon, I guess. But all these terms that you're telling me, like the names, I can't even name any of them. I just, they just clicked in my head when you were repeating them. It's like I didn't pay attention to them. Maybe I could have learned something that that I could have helped, but not everybody's gonna go in that path, So I understand what it is. But anyways, I'm sorry. What I wanted to ask was, did the word pyrolysis, did that already exist? What is that term?
Yeah, pyrolysis is a very old word. It's a Greek word,
Okay.
and it means, well, pyro means heat,
Okay.
and lysis means to break apart. So you put two together, breaking apart something with heat. So it's very old. This process has been around forever, which is even more surprising to me why it's not used. The number one differentiating factor with the process I use is the fact I use microwaves to heat up the plastic and break it down. And that allows this process to be run off of electricity, and the electricity can be sourced from renewable sources, right? Because the standard pyrolysis reactor, which already does exist, and there's some big plants around the world, places. Most of them run off of like natural gas or propane burning, right? And I'm kind of like, well, that's kind of like counterintuitive because we're trying to make an alternative energy that's coming from plastic waste. But like, if you're making that energy by burning petroleum products, I'm kind of like, well, that's kind of almost defeats the point. I mean, of course, it's still cleaning the plastic pollution, but I felt like it could be done better, right? Especially considering that we do have, so much renewable infrastructure nowadays. So the reason I got into microwaves, well, actually, I'll start from the beginning, right? So in high school, my junior and senior year, I was in a welding program, right? And every time I would get ahead of the welding program and I would get my work done early, I would work on this reactor there. So my very first reactor was the standard reactor that ran off of propane. And that was the start of it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it worked, but I just knew that there could be more done. So I built my first ever microwave pyrolysis reactor. It worked pretty well, still had a lot of flaws. Built my second one, which is what I'm on now. It's working really well, it gives me a lot of products and all that, but it can be improved. So now I'm going to be building my third one. It's in construction currently. So the microwaves, they heat up the plastic from the inside out, right?
Right.
When you have a fire going into a pot, think about it like this: the energy from the fire has to go into the pot, and then the pot's heat has to go into whatever is needing to be heated.
So it's from the outside in.
It's from the outside in. A lot of energy, a lot of heat energy loss. It's always going to be inefficient because of that. Microwaves are already on the inside of the chamber, and they're heating up the plastic from the inside out. Think about it. That's why microwaves can cook things so quickly, right? You put a hot pocket in it, and it's burning your mouth.
Yeah, right. In 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's interesting. It takes a really bright mind to really think that how things work, and it amazes me. Like, I'm astonished right now by how you're explaining it to me, and I'm like, wow, how come I didn't think of that? But there's so many ideas that I'm like, wow, how come I didn't think of that? Right. Yeah, but we can't, like I said earlier, we can't all do everything, right?
Right.
Some people are made for this, some people are made for that, and some people are like yourself are made for figuring out the biggest problem that the earth has, and you've taken it in your hands and said, let me figure this out, and you're on your way, man. That's pretty exciting. You were explaining a little bit about the fumes right now. Well, first of all, the version on your video, the one that I saw on TikTok, that's the second version of it. You said, of course, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're working on the third one now. Is the third one going to be bigger?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you'll be able to do more of them at once,
Yep.
right? Oh,
It's gonna be the
awesome,
biggest one
awesome.
yet.
Now, there's fumes come the fumes, and
Right.
now some of them, so some of the fumes that were coming out on the video, you explained that they could be used as natural gases, right?
Yeah.
Now, isn't it dangerous to inhale those fumes from those plastic bags?
All right. So that was actually one of the biggest questions on the video. So I'm happy to answer this. So in that video, right, I showed me opening up the gas port at the top of the reactor,
Right.
and that's the raw gas coming out, right? Because I wanted to give people a visual example of what it looks like. I have a very complex catalytic chemical filtering system that those gases go through that reacts with all of the pollutants in them, the sulfurs, the chlorines, the fluorides, um, all of that type of stuff, right? Out any type of acidic properties. And when it goes through all of that, the fumes are completely invisible. You know, remember in the video, it was almost like a white cloud.
Yeah.
So when it's the raw gas, yes, it is 100%. I would not release that into the atmosphere. I would not breathe that in. That was purely for demonstration.
Of
But when
course, of
I'm
course.
doing it myself and I'm storing them and collecting them and I'm burning them, it's the cleanest I can get them, right? Because that's a major point to me too. I don't want to, be taking plastics out the ocean and polluting the air at the same time. So
Of
by the
course.
time the gas leaves the end of the reactor and it's been completely filtered, it is very similar to propane and natural gas because in complete combustion, the only byproducts will be carbon dioxide and water vapor.
Wow. Okay. Makes perfect sense. I mean, but everything in the end, everything goes into that container where all the carbons is it all the
Yeah,
waste.
carbon.
Yeah. Everything goes to that at the end of the all the burning.
Yeah, that's what the plastic is reduced to.
But what about the
And everything I
vapors?
put in there. What
What
was that?
what about the vapors? They just get cleaned out or
Well, the vapors. Okay, well, I don't know if I really showed it that well in the video, to be honest. But the vapors, they go through this plumbing system I have, right? So they leave the reactor as soon as they form, pretty much, and they go through all the filters, and then the output is somewhere else at the end. It's not in the reactor at all.
Oh, okay, okay. So right there, what you showed was, like you said, just like the raw material, the complete material at
Yeah,
the end, right? Oh, okay, awesome.
right. Same
Now,
with the oil too.
right, okay, okay. Now, are you worried? You know what I mean, right?
Oh man.
Now, because now we know what happened to the water engine.
Yeah.
They killed it.
Right.
They killed it and with the guy. And now I'm not mean to scare you, but this is just information that I want to share that I just recently saw today. There was a video that I saw a couple of months ago where a gentleman had made a TV a thing for a TV that would give electricity to that would power the TV on its own. Like it won't need no power source. He was showing the video and everything. Now, I don't know how real these things are. You see them and you take them what they're for. And now I know it's the internet, and like I said, you take it with a grain of salt for what it is for, right? But now today, actually, it was today that I saw this video of the same gentleman that somebody was explaining what had happened to him, and apparently he has been. There's been 2 or 3 attempts. Him getting him poisoned, and right now he's in the hospital dealing with that. So now you could say, well, maybe it's just a coincidence. You could say that, but we know, like I said earlier, a minute ago, what happened to the water engine.
Yeah.
Right. So now, my question is, are you worried, or do you feel, or you have any intuition that you should be worried, or?
Yeah, I would say that has been the #1 comment on the TikTok video. It has like 2,000 comments, and I would say at least 1,000 of them are all saying like the CIA is at your door, the FBI is gonna get you, and I'm just like, look at me, look at how I dress. I am the CIA,
Right? You might be.
Well,
Jesus.
okay. I will say, in my younger days, I was a conspiracy theorist. I looked up all this type of stuff, so I've heard it all before. I'm aware the government schemes and all the big oil companies don't want to mess with them.
Money.
Am I worried though? Personally, I'm not, because the truth of the matter is, I think it's just the dedication to this project, and my mindset about it. So in terms of dedication, it's just I'm so adamant about doing this, right? That even if I knew, like if the government sent me a notice saying like if you keep doing this, we're gonna kill you in 90 days. I'm gonna keep going anyway, just because like this is just my passion. This is what makes me feel purpose, and I'd rather die doing this than living a life that is doing something devoid of what I feel is purpose. Because will I really be living then, right?
Of
And in
course.
terms of my mindset, this is another reason why I'm not worried. My mindset about this whole project is we, not me. I believe that this is a thing that we all, as a human race, all generations need to come together to solve. And because of that, I have already shown enough on YouTube for anybody with the proper skills to rebuild this. In my Discord server, I've already shared the concept art of the reactor I'm building right now. Some people are saying I should make like books and stuff, like hard copy stuff, so the government can't just go and delete everything. It's not a bad idea.
Of course.
Who knows? Even an EMP, right, can
Right.
mess up everything, right?
Right.
So I'm not really worried, just because at the end of the day, it's just kind of like it's not gonna change what I do. If it happens, it happens. I'm still gonna do everything I can in my power to get this out there, share it with as many people as possible. So it's just not my focus, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, me, I'm not in, I don't, I have a, well, we all have different mindsets, but my mindset is, uh, I'm shedding my pants for you. Because, we know how much money, we all understand. We probably don't know. We think we know, but we understand how much money big oil companies have, how much power and money they have, right?
Yeah.
Because if let's just say your project that you're working on works and it hits, right? That would put a big dent in their pocket in the oil part, in the gasoline part, because they would still be pumping out petroleum to make all plastics, right? They would still be
Right.
doing that, but you would still bother them. That's why
For
I
sure.
feel like I'm like, wow, you're very brave, and and it's smart. I mean, and you have a different mindset that gives you the ability to stay focused on what your goal is, and which is
Right.
help us, not help me. And most of us is just help me.
Yeah, right. Because I can guarantee that I could be safe if I go ahead and sell out. If this does get big, Shell comes to me or something, and I sign a contract, give them all the rights away, so nobody can remake this, replicate it, and then they either would just claim it all for themselves, or like they'll do some type of insidious thing, like put more plastic in the ocean so then they could take it out and then be like, yeah, look at all this plastic we're cleaning up, or something like that. But I'm not selling out. I'm not doing that, because this is a problem that we need to solve as society, and that's where I believe the focus should be. Not in these big companies, because look at what these big companies have done for us. That's where
They
we're at
haven't
now.
done absolutely nothing for us. They've only done it for them. It's
Right.
crazy too, because you mentioned this earlier about us having everything here to be able to live without any
Waste
waste,
free.
right? Because
Yeah.
look, if we would get rid of cotton, if we would have gotten rid of cotton and gone into with hemp, they would have been able to make everything. Now, I recently also
Right.
seen a video where they make cement out of hemp. Did you know
Oh
that?
wow.
Yeah,
I did not know
it's
that.
called a hempcrete. They make
Whoa.
and also the plant, the hemp plant, they could grow a lot faster than the tree, and you can grow it multiple times. I think one or twice a year. I think you could grow it because it grows in a period of 6 months or something like that, and it's very viable. You can use it. It has many uses. You can use it for clothes, to build furniture, whatever, and the material it's light, but it's a material that is strong. It's
Hmm.
like twice as strong as regular wood. I don't know if you've seen a bamboo. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that. It's kind of like that, but it's like supposed to be super stronger. It's stronger than bamboo. And I don't. I mean, like I understand that they all these companies, they all they look for is just the profit that they're
Right.
gonna make, and also the problem is that every single year they have to make more money than they made the previous year. So
Right.
that doesn't help. And when you're mentioning like if they come to you and try to offer you, you know, they try to offer you, hey, we'll buy this off of you for this much money, and you not giving it to them, that would
Oh
make
yeah.
yeah
They're gonna be mad.
that-
I'm sure they're gonna be mad.
because they're good at that. Even if they were to acquire it, they're good at solving the problem that they created on
Create.
purpose to
Right.
make
I
profit.
believe they call that the Hegelian dialectic. You
Okay.
create the problem, then you offer the solution.
Yeah, that
You know?
and it seems like you're right. That's what they've been doing this whole time. For because I
Yeah.
mean, maybe it didn't start that way, you know, because everything starts with the with their heart in the right place. Everything, but
Right.
somewhere along the line, it gets corrupted by money and greed.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just always have a belief that I will be okay. I may not make billions from this because I'm not trying to be somebody that is exploiting something, because I believe, usually to make tons of money, somebody has to be exploited in this world, right? So, but like I just believe, through this, I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna make enough to sustain this project, sustain myself, and I believe that I will always have the proper publicity needed. It's just like a faith I have that it would just
Mm.
work out in the end, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as long as you keep yourself you keep surrounding yourself with people with the right mindset and with these with the not I'm not gonna say same goals, but like same path that you've chosen to
Right.
seek your goals. Right. When you surround yourself with people like that, you know that helps your goals too. Also, you know. So you do you work by yourself, or do you have a group, or do you have a crew, or it's just your
Well,
project?
currently it's me and my social media marketer manager, and she's a good friend of mine
Okay.
from high school, and that's really it. And she's really more of just volunteering. We're kind of doing a little barter. Like I'll help take her places if she can, manage the social media. In fact, I think she was the one that responded to you right away before even I
Yeah.
could. So she does
Yeah.
a great job at
That's
that.
what I was gonna ask. How do you have time to work on your projects? Because, man, like
Man,
just this project alone that I've chosen to work on, you know, just doing the podcast. Like I try to do it every day, but it hasn't been working out that way. One of the main reasons because I've been lazy. I'll admit it. Guilty as charged. And other reasons because you know my regular job gets in the way. So finding
right.
the appropriate time. Oh, and not only that, I almost neglected them, my kids too. I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
uh-uh.
So you know, I gotta balance my time accordingly. You know,
Yeah,
and you're at the perfect age where your responsibilities are you have responsibilities, but they're not.
not that many.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So you know, you started your project at the perfect time. I think you have
exactly.
and you have all the time in the world now for you to work on your craft until you know until some critters come along the way.
Yeah. Now, speaking of managing time and jobs and all that, I'm just starting out. I'm not really making much money from this. Like I do have a Patreon. I do have some patrons. Very thankful for them, of
Nice,
course.
nice, good
But
job.
honestly, the reactor itself, I would say, cost at least several hundred a month, and then everything else. So I would have a job, right? Like I said, I did a welding. I went to school for welding in high school, a dual enrollment. So I actually started my own welding business, Jabs Metalwork LLC. And
Nice.
it's been around for almost a year now, roughly a year. And it's a lot of work, I won't lie. And when I'm doing all that, some days I can't work on the reactor at all. But as of late in the summer, I've kind of taken a hiatus from it. I'm not sure how long it will be because I just wanted to focus full time on this reactor and publicity, because I believe if I can get enough publicity, I will get the support to make working on this and making videos of this my full-time job, because I know that people are waiting for a solution. They are losing hope because all they see is this negative press. They're waiting for somebody or something to come along, especially like their age, saying we can do this together, you know? So I have that faith that, you know, with enough publicity, whether it's through TikTok or through my YouTube or both or whatever, I can definitely get this self-sustaining. Because honestly, if I'm going to continue to do all this welding work, I really won't be making much progress on
Right.
this reactor.
Well, the thing that I've learned about this in my 2 years working on this podcast is that consistency is the key. I mean, whatever it is, even if it's just like, if you don't have the drive, even like the minor thing, just put like, clip something of whatever you have, and just post it back up there, because like you said, people are looking for a solution, but they're not actively looking. They're just waiting for somebody to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think we found it. I mean, your work, this project that you got going on, it literally could be the solution that we all need to solve whatever is happening in the oceans that's making the weather change. I mean,
Right.
it's a problem that I think they didn't clearly think of that was possible, that could have ended up. But also, we're talking about all this problem, right? That we have about plastic, right? But why are we also focusing on the future generations that are coming right behind us? Now, we've already fucked it up to where we're at today, right? Now, can we pick up from where we left off and go from there? Meaning, start educating younger generations on recycling, on going, even like we were talking earlier, going zero waste.
Right.
Like, and we don't emphasize that anywhere. All we emphasize is buy more Tupperwares and buy more Ziploc bags.
Yep.
I mean,
Consumerism.
Yeah, so it goes back to, like I say, we're not actively looking for a savior. We're just waiting for the savior to come along. And like I said, man, yeah, I think we got it, because I mean, I'm not an expert in anything, but that seems like a perfect solution to the problem that has no solution, nothing else other than just pick it up out of there with the net, and then what? But like I said,
Right.
the gentleman that I brought up, he's using it. He's recycling everything and making glasses,
Okay.
sunglasses, sandals, and stuff like that. It's useful. But what happens when those things don't get used no
When
more?
you throw those away.
They go back to the
It
ocean.
just ends up, yeah, it's a cycle. So we need somewhere where it stops, a hard line stop.
Yeah.
And incinerators have been, a place where, plastics are going. But here's the thing. Here's how I see it. All right, incinerators, they do work. They are effective, obviously, or they wouldn't exist. But there are incinerators all over the world, ginormous plants. Like New York has a huge one, right?
Wow, I didn't know
But
that.
yet we still got plastic in the ocean. So there's something isn't working. There needs to be something else. And I think the matter of that is scale. You cannot build an incinerator that is environmentally safe at a small scale, because it needs to have all types of filters and scrubbers and all this stuff to, catch all those dioxins and things that form. But this pyrolysis reactor, it's literally in my backyard,
Everybody can have one.
under my deck, like
Wow.
and I can make it even smaller than it is now. I can make it bigger. I can make it smaller. So I feel like the ultimate solution is, instead of having these big plants that you get to ship things in from across the world to just incinerate it, I think we need to have many community scale reactors across everywhere.
Now, if you have a personal one, does that thing get really hot when you're working it, when it's working?
You see, because it uses microwaves, it does not. The microwaves heat it from the inside out. So you can actually touch the outside with your bare hands. And it's going to be warm, but it's not going to burn you.
Wow. Because I was thinking, because you said incinerators, people having incinerators in their backyards, I was thinking, and that could work as a heater for cold places. Maybe
Right.
not. Or what about the? Well, wait. What about people that got sick from burning stuff in, like people in the army that've gotten, what is it, orange?
Oh yeah.
What about that? If with them burning stuff like that. And now
Yeah, they're
I
just
know yours is a different process, and they use
right.
a
Yeah, they're
different
just
process. Well.
burning that stuff in an open pit, which is the worst way to do it because all of that is just going right up in the air and
To your
it's the
face.
most potent stuff, honestly. And that's what they do to some plastics too. It's not a viable solution if we're going to try to be environmentally friendly. And some people in my comments on the TikTok video, they do mention like, well, this is still burning fossil fuels, this is still emitting carbon dioxide, so what's the point? My rebuttal to that is if these plastics are in the ocean or the landfills anyway, it's been shown they release greenhouse gases like methane, which is even worse than carbon dioxide.
Right. And carbon dioxide, trees can use it, right?
The trees can use it. So if we plant more trees, we can offset all the carbon dioxide
More
that's
green.
formed. And also, since once again this runs off of electricity, if we run the reactor itself, the microwaves off of solar or wind, it is going to be 100% carbon neutral because that carbon would have been released by the plastics anyway, right? And we're utilizing the energy that would have otherwise just been wasted in the landfill or the ocean, and we're making that into a product we can use to run the world.
Yeah, to fill all those potholes too, man. There's some areas, man, that they got to redo the whole street.
Yeah, they got you.
Yeah, but that material that you get at the end though, that you explained that it has many uses.
Tons.
Can you explain like how can they break it down to use it into other things?
Okay, so what that at the very end is, it's usually referred to as carbon black, right? Now, carbon black is a form of carbon, and carbon is basically the foundation of so many things in this world. So, for example, activated carbon is from carbon black when you put it under a certain process to make it more porous. Um, and all it does so many things that you could do with that. Basically, how they break it down in the video, I showed like these big carbon chunks. That was in actually footage from my previous reactor. My new reactor gives me a fine powder of carbon, right? So what I do right now is I do two things to it, or rather probably like three or four things. But first of all, I put it through a very fine filter because I don't want any type of residual things in there, any type of residual plastic that maybe got unburnt or something in there. And so I put it through the very fine filter, and then after that, I try to get metals out of it. So I take a magnet to it, I get iron out of it, and I have had some of my fellow subscribers let me know many ways I can get some of the other metals like copper, palladium, gold, mercury, blah 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 out of there because these plastics, think about it, they're made of crude oil. Crude oil comes from the earth underground really deep. There's tons of metals in that, tons. Let alone if you do something like e-waste, right?
Right. You know what? I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of the metals. I was thinking the plastics. See, because I recently learned that us, with everything that we consume, water, everything, we consume the size of a credit card worth of plastic.
Of microplastics.
Yes. Oh my God. See, that right there's a solution to that right there.
Right.
Now, you mentioned activated charcoal. Is that the same one that I drink on a pill form?
It's the exact same thing. The carbon I get from plastics is the exact same type of carbon that you're taking when you take your activated carbon pills.
Wow.
The exact same. This is closing the loop. This is just like how nature does it. Nature will have a tree fall down. That tree will eventually reduce to just carbon dioxide and carbon in the ground that would then fertilize another tree. We're closing the loop through this process. And that's why I'm just so passionate about it because, I said I'm an environmentalist and I study nature. I observe nature, biomimicry. And it's like nature does this process. The reason we have oil and natural gas pockets underground is because that's where nature's doing pyrolysis of old decayed trees and microorganisms that have died and got buried underground. That's pyrolysis because guess what? It's underground, no oxygen. And guess what? It's heat and there's pressure under there. And that's how that forms.
What? So basically, you're recreating what's happening in the core of the earth.
Yep.
Wow. What, see, you should have opened up with that one. We could have avoided 40 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But that's interesting. Jesus, as you were saying it, it was my mind. There was explosions happening. Like this makes so much sense. Why aren't we doing this?
Right. And
See,
what I really don't understand is why even the big companies aren't as invested in this, because it is so profitable. You know, I know that all they're considering is profits, but I didn't even mention this yet. But it's not limited to plastic. You can put any type of organic matter in there and it will all degrade. I have a whole series on my YouTube channel, Will It Pyrolysize? So far, I've done coffee, I've done wood chips, and I've done motor oil.
okay.
It all ends up the same. And I'm going to do tires soon too. You can do food waste, like literally anything can go in there, and it's going to be result in fuel products and carbon products.
So if I were to go onto your Discord, I could learn how to make one in my house and get rid of all my waste as such.
Yes, and especially just watching the YouTube videos, you'll see. You know, I literally have the
Wow.
footage of me welding stuff together. You know, I'm making this open source.
Wow, and to make well the price, it could get pricey if you decide to embark in that. To make the simplest, say the first version you made, is it expensive for that?
Like if I were to sell it, or it
No,
would just be making it.
like to make it. Like say I
Yeah,
wanted to make it.
It was expensive just because there was so much experimenting in the first couple ones. I'd buy so many materials that just ended up being useless or not working out. But I would say the actual price of just everything together, like the microwave, the metal for the microwave reactor, the pipes, the magnetron to produce the microwaves, transformer, and all that, you could easily build one for less than 1,000. In fact, you can go even cheaper than that if you do what I do. All the microwave parts I get to get this, I get from microwaves that are thrown in the landfill. So I upcycle all of it.
So,
I've never paid for a single one yet.
wow. So you're basically recycling every now in that first trial and error when you had all that waste that you either it didn't work or you messed it up or you had to redo it. Now all that waste, did you incinerate all that too or
No.
no?
In fact, what I do, I have several containers, like plastic containers, where I keep that stuff in because I view it as like a hazard. And guess what I can do with it? I can put it right back in the reactor, and then it's going to be completely stripped of any potential hazard in it. You know, like if there's any oil in it or anything like that you know can't break down or might pollute the environment. I put it back in the reactor, and then all that's going to be left is just the inorganic parts of it. And then now that's safe. You know, let's say fiberglass. I have a lot of fiberglass I've experimented with that's now contaminated with oil or something. I put that in the reactor. All that organic stuff that's toxic will be completely degraded, and all that will be left in the end will be carbon, and then the fiberglass right there, since it's completely inorganic, and then you could do whatever you want to do with that at that point.
Wow. Man, I'm still stuck on the carbon. that
Yeah.
this it see I've been taking those carbon pills for over 2 years, and it's never even dawned on me that it's a possibility that's where they get that from, where they could get it from, right? It's basically what it is.
They actually make most activated carbon from wood. They burn wood they first burn it in a pit, then they cover it with something to starve the oxygen, so then it carbonizes, and then they do the process to make it more porous, and then you have activated carbon. And wood is an organic matter, plastic's an organic matter, so it's really the same thing.
You know, isn't technically everything an organic matter?
Well, almost all of our waste is in this world, but things like metal, fiberglass, glass, ceramics, all that is considered inorganic matter. But here's the thing: most of those inorganic materials are actually very useful for the process. We refer to them as catalysts. For example, one of the byproducts of welding and grinding away metals, you get a whole bunch of metal dust everywhere, iron dust. I found out that iron dust is one of the best catalysts to use in the reactor. It heats up the plastic super quickly, right? Or for example, alumina, which is used in sandpaper as an abrasive and all that. That's another catalyst they actually use in oil refineries to clean up the oils and crack it, as they say, to make the molecules smaller so then it can form like gasoline or diesel and stuff, right? So there's a use for all organic, inorganic materials. It's just that when we have things like plastic organic materials that are not biodegradable, that's when we have these issues, right? We got to do these
Right.
complex processes to break them down
Right.
and make
Right.
them useful again.
Yeah, I think that's what most companies are scared of, the breaking down of the thing process. Because maybe did anybody? Well, obviously you said people knew about the pyrolysis process, right? But
Right.
did anybody ever hint into doing what you're doing that you know of?
Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of microwave pyrolysis research papers out there. Um, but they were all at a very small scale. On YouTube, you can find a few videos on it, but it just was really lacking. Okay, like almost all the research papers I read on pyrolysis, very few are of microwave pyrolysis. Really, I'm one of the only people on YouTube with microwave pyrolysis videos that really show it in depth and all that. So that's why I was like, all right, I need to step in and start making videos because microwaves, they just change the process so much for them not to be like the main focus on what people are doing. Because in my experience with using both type of reactors, I like the microwaves way better, not only because of the electricity convenience, but also because I actually think they're safer because they don't make the reactor so hot that it can melt everything around it. You can burn your hand by just touching it. And
Right.
yeah, I just think that it's overall, I think that this is the way to do it, you know.
It sounds like the safest way to do it because you said you could touch the container and it'd be warm but not hot. I
Yeah,
mean,
right. But if you touch the one that runs off of propane after it's been running for like 30 minutes, you're getting third degree burns in like a second. You know, that stuff gets hot.
your hand will probably melt into that thing when you touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really hot.
Yeah, that's man. You're doing God's work, man.
Thank you.
this is what needs. This is you are what the world needs, and obviously you said there was people doing it already, but maybe their goal is not aligned with what your goal is, you know. But you seem to have your heart in the right place in helping the world out, which is wonderful, and I admire how young you are and you've taken this world that you know the generation in front of you should be taken care of.
Right.
But hey, you might be the savior that this planet needs in order to fix at least you know one of our issues. You know, at least one of
Right.
the most important ones. I think it's that you know. So yeah, um, anything you want to share before I let you go?
Let me think. Yeah, I will share for anybody that is interested in the process and the science behind it and how it works. My very first YouTube video, literally the first one I uploaded, I break all of that down. Um, I have a Discord server where we all talk about all types of things. I have a Patreon if any of you want to support me, and I also have a PayPal as well. Um, all types of social media, Instagram, TikTok, blah blah blah. So that's it. I really appreciate everybody that supported me. I appreciate you for having me here,
It's
and
I appreciate your time. I know you're busy because you got goals to meet, and this that you're working on, like I said, it's. I think that I'm gonna say it because I believe is what we need. It's the solution that you're providing, and hopefully hopefully somewhere along the line you ring another bell and they put you in a bigger platform so that way
yeah,
your idea can get bigger. And
right,
the only way to get to that platform is, hey man, stay with those videos. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep sharing. Keep sharing. Don't share everything though. Don't let everybody have everything. Otherwise, they're gonna take
yeah,
it from you. No, I'm just kidding. No, but keep those videos coming though, because
for
like I
sure.
said, I only saw that one video you and I was like, what the heck? this guy just solved the problem that we need. And
Did you see it off of TikTok or Instagram?
I did. I found you on TikTok.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
that's where I was. That's where I was wasting my time. That's where I waste all my time. Anyways, Julian, I really appreciate you and your time. Again, please go ahead and plug all your social medias, and please send me all your links so I can add them to the description of the episode.
For
And
sure.
get you out there. I mean, I'll share it to wherever as much as I can, because I think you're important. You're really important to having
Thank
this.
you, man. I really appreciate
Yes.
it. Yeah. All my social media is Nature Jab, just nature and jab put together. And on my Instagram is Nature Jab _ because Nature Jab was already taken somehow. Even though no other platform had it taken, but whatever. But I will say I really did enjoy having this podcast with you. I think that, we really get along really well. And if you ever want to interview me in the future, maybe when this is bigger, then, just reach out. I'll be glad to be on here again.
Yeah, I'll definitely bug you again. And I got your email, so I'll stay in contact. I'll save your email. I save everybody's email that I talk to, so I try to stay in contact. But like I said, sometimes I get lazy because work. But it's okay. All you got to do is just pick up from where we left off. That's what I try to do at least.
And do you mind if I shouted you out on like my TikTok or my YouTube or something, or like show clips of us talking?
Not at all. What I usually do for all my guests, what I started to do for the guests that I've been having lately is I'll put it up and I'll cut a couple clips, 1 or 2, and I'll send them to you, and then you do it with them as you wish. Okay. But if you want, it'll be up on YouTube. If you want to get the whole clip, I can try to send you the whole clip, and then you can grab from it wherever you want, and then we could go from there. Like I said, it's up to you. But you have my permission. It's not a big deal.
All right. Sure.
I appreciate you and your time, Julian. Thank you very much for giving me this conversation, and
yes, sir.
Keep chiming on, man. Keep doing it because you're doing it.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
Peace out, man.
Peace out. Thank you. My friend Julian, thank you. You taught me so much, things that I've never even thought about. And you, my friend, are the solution that everything and everyone was looking for. And for that, I thank you, my friend. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to have this conversation with you. And this is our 2 cents with Oscar signing out. I should have said signing out, but that's it for today. Deuces!